Hey, what's going on, everybody, and thanks for joining us again. Today we present the solution to recycling. For decades we've been told,
bring your big blue bin to the curb and recycle.
There's no denying that we have an issue with waste management and appropriate disposal, but is recycling as we know it truly the answer? Most of what is sent to a recycling plant will never be recycled. It's astounding how many plastics have the iconic Arrows logo on it and is not actually recyclable. Additionally, plastic bags clog up the recycling machines. The amount of plastic actually recycled is roughly 5%. Manhattan alone would save at least $300 million a year if they just stopped recycling altogether. When Los Angeles mandated recycling, they added 400 polluting garbage trucks. In Ohio, grocery stores no longer provide plastic bags and now charge you for flimsy, rippable paper bags if you don't bring your reusable fabric bag, both of which release more pollutants to make than plastic. California even banned small plastic shampoo bottles. Now, why do you want to make life more difficult for travelers? Some of these rules are so arbitrary and silly and don't even begin to solve the problem. Anymore, it is simply a way for politicians and green enthusiasts to pretend that they are saving the planet, and I think they get a charge out of telling people what to do. It is an industry that requires increasingly expensive labor to produce materials that are worth less and less. A vast majority of recycling is sold to poor countries like Malaysia to hoard, and they tend to just stockpile it and burn it, which in the end only leads to more air pollution. And what they don't burn will surely find its way into the oceans. If it's not nearly as effective as we're led to believe, then why is it pushed so heavily? They do it because people demand it. It's a sacrament of the green religion. I'm not opposed to playing my part and working to fix a global pollution issue, but I want to put my energy into what works. To recycle, there are so many rules like rinsing your bottles out. However, if you rinse a plastic bottle in hot water, the net result is more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere than if you just threw it in the garbage. If the problem we face is waste management, then the religion of recycling is not the answer. Now, John, I pass it off to you for your development of this problem before we present our solutions.
Amen. It's interesting where the solution cannot be worse than the problem, and it seems like exactly what you said. The solution is tending to skew towards being worse than the problem. And the whole "Go Green" is a good slogan, but just stop using plastic. If you stop using it, they'll stop making it. Just vote with your dollar. You don't have to get the paper straws that disintegrate in your mouth that are disgusting. Get a silicone straw, right? Bring a water bottle with you or a tumbler with you to, do your part, but be more conscious. Don't just, like what you were saying is, don't just buy a bag that's made out of plastic so that you don't have to spend the 10 cents plus on a bag that they provide you at the store. Just think about it. And a lot of us were just kind of, well, I don't want to say us, but there's a lot of people are just kind of going with the flow. So that's my 2 cents. There's a lot of other things I want to talk about, but I know you have something up your sleeve.
Well, no, I think you pose a great position on it. And the reality is, whatever you find to be the problem, whether it is plastic or if it is big tech or who knows, whatever you think is causing this issue, you should probably avoid it. I think that's a pretty basic and strong foundation that John lays. If you think it's plastic, then stay away from plastic. The other side to it, though, is I don't know if it's necessarily plastic in particular. What came out as interesting as through all this research is that the creation of the green products, while you may get more use out of them, the creation themselves is resulting in more net pollution than if you just went with plastic. So there's a give or take there. Now, I almost forgot about this point, and I want to double down. And an important piece that I want to present is, how did we have a whole society of people that instinctively understood and respected a system that, hey, I'm going to pay 10 cents more for my Coca-Cola because it comes in glass. And then I'm going to come back with the case full of empty glass bottles. I'm going to give it back to you, store owner, and you're going to give me my 15 cents per bottle. Or who knows? Inflation, buddy, inflation. Okay, so whatever the cost is now, I'll put down an extra $1. And then if my buddy's drunk and he throws the Bud Light bottle and it shatters, I'm going to have him give me $1. That's just how it goes. Like, at the end of the day, I can create a system internally and with my society and my neighbors and my community where we all just go, okay, I'm going to pay a little bit more. And because I saw I was going through digging and there was all these suggestions of like reusable. And then, the pushback was like, well, people just don't like that. Like, I don't want to have to bring a tub of laundry detergent to refill every time. Like, now I'm walking in with all these bottles and then, but what makes, and you go, you've been walking out of the store with all those things this whole time. But I also want to point out that I've had them in plastic bags. That's the only thing that's made it possible to have my detergent, my gallon of milk, and everything else. Like, at some point, it's a lot to carry. Nope. Cart narc. Just get your cart. Okay, I get it. There's a workaround. So if you got a workaround, use it. But my whole position on this is I don't think necessarily plastic is the problem. And I respect I like being the convenience. Like, we shouldn't eliminate convenience. Okay? Well, so then you should just pay a little bit extra for that and have the incentive of recycling instead of throwing it in a bin to end up in Malaysia. How about you just take it to Walmart and you get your $1 back, and then they send it through a system where they could give it to another customer in like a month or two. I don't know. So again, laying out the problem, it's lack of reusable products. I think we're misdirected, right? The trump card is to default to plastic. Plastic's bad, but then we go and there is a yacht in the ocean right now that is burning more pollution into the sky than all of, like, just a super yacht for cruises, burning more than the entire United States vehicles combined. So at some point, we got to look at these people and go, what you think is the problem isn't really the problem. And we got to redirect our focus. I don't know. Final thoughts with the problem, John. Let's hear what you got.
Yeah, actually, there is a fungus that people have found, like a mushroom that will live off of plastic. And if you have a fungus that can live off of plastic, that's a natural process of getting rid of it. So as a solution, there's better ways than burning, because people are complaining about the carbon footprint, and now you're burning everything. Like, it's ass backwards. It's just dumb. It's dumb. And because people don't see it in front of them, it doesn't bother you. But when, if there's a problem and you see it and you have to, like, maybe people should just go on a cruise to just swing by that yacht just to smell and see it, because then it'll be real. It'll be realistic. How about, school trips to places where it's all garbage? Like when you're younger, introduce the problem early so it's just more obvious. Do more documentaries, make it more real. It's being hidden. And then the companies that are creating these products are not getting yelled at. And then the people that are using the products, because there's a lack of options, are getting charged for it. Why not charge the people that are creating the products that you have?
Not
no
only are they being charged for it, they're being claimed as the perpetrator. Or charged.
Right. You're blaming the person. You're blaming the customer for your product's inability to be environmentally friendly. Like, what? So the problem is the people have very little options to spend their money in better alternatives to plastic, and we are also being advertised and sold on bad options.
Great point. So do you think we should provide them with some solutions? You ready?
I think so.
Let's take it.
I can say the thoughts I have on the first point of the problem that I see is, yes, lack of options. And so what do we do about the lack of options? You can either A, create your own options, or B, do a search for those options and vote with your dollar. there's so many companies that if you do a little search, there are companies that are trying to sell their product. They're trying to get it out there, but because people don't know about it and people aren't looking, they're suffering. So spend a little bit extra for that solution, because at the end of the day, you're being charged for bad options to begin with. And I think the other option, I think I summed up my solutions. What about you?
All right. So, as for solutions, the major point that I want to emphasize is throw your in the garbage. Of the world's ocean plastic, only 0.25% comes from America's shores. If you really want to save the dolphins, throw your water bottle in the trash. The media has us convinced that we are running out of space for landfills. But if you think of America as a football field, all of the garbage we will generate in the next 1,000 years would fit inside a tiny fraction of the 1-inch line. Because of modern regulations, such as leachate removal systems, compost liners, location restrictions, and groundwater monitoring, landfills are not the polluters they once were. Eventually, we've seen landfills turn into ski hills, parks, and golf courses. Now, of course, my solution is not going to be forget recycling and dump it all in the trash. So to further lay out my solution, I offer the following 4 suggestions: reducing, reusing, compositing, and incinerating. Reducing. Reduce waste by buying products with minimal packaging, choosing products that last longer, and avoiding single-use items. Reusing. Reuse items multiple times instead of discarding them after one use, such as refillable water bottles, shopping bags, and containers. Compositing. Turn organic waste into compost, which can be used as natural fertilizers for plants and is a healthy way to rejuvenate the earth. Incinerating. Burn some of the waste to convert it into ash and gas. Believe it or not, but incineration is one of the most practical waste handling techniques with high capability to reduce harmless compounds. Each of these alternatives has its own pros and cons, and the most appropriate option may vary depending on local conditions and regulations. So those are my solutions.
I like your very organized list of solutions, all well put together. I still think the mushroom idea is the killer.
That's it. We
solution.
need plastic mushrooms.
We need Yoshi to come and just get his friends and just eat all the plastic.
But again, that's hammering down the point of have faith in the system itself. Like, nature will sort itself out. We're making this out to be a bigger problem than it really is. We're talking about 1,000 years of trash is going to be only a fraction, an inch on the football field that is the land of America. And if we're being led to believe we're making more waste than most countries, that really isn't a whole lot. So I think we could focus on better ways of managing that than just shipping it to Malaysia or, Haiti or Honduras. Maybe we could kind of figure out ways to address it immediately. I've seen Asian countries like Japan and China are starting to use banana leaves to wrap their products in. So now instead of plastic, you're having actually disposable stuff. So that way, if it does end up in the trash or it just goes in your backyard, it's not going to kill anybody. So there's something beautiful to get creative. But also, the emphasis of our solutions is that we're nowhere near the end of the world, so don't let them fool you. Look through the ruse. That's my solution.
Look through the rules. The ruse.
That's it. So, John, tell them where they can find you.
All right, you can find me at newagehuman.com, and all the social media will be there. All the websites to listen to the podcast will be there as well. And just as an FYI, you can find me on YouTube, and I'm working on Rumble as well.
All right. And guys, you can catch all of our content at www.rethinktankpodcast.com. Otherwise, you can catch me on Instagram, Twitch, and all the other things at Grgat57. And we'll catch you next week. Peace.